Hi guys, it's Karin from Japan, and then today I wanted to talk about the current coronavirus situation in here. So lockdown, which is merely a stay-home suggestion in here, has somehow succeeded and then fully been shifted from June after 2 months. The school has started, the shop has opened, and then I can see my friends. People are trying to get back to their lives with new normals. So one new normal that I find interesting is the cashless payment. Japan has heavily relied on cash payment, but now that people don't want to touch each other, and then it's getting mainstream, I find it pretty interesting. So when I came back to Japan in the middle of March, it has already overcome the first wave, and I didn't even have to get quarantined for 14 days. I could go home without wearing masks or getting tested. I could see my friends. It was pretty chill until the end of the March, but the new cases suddenly started to increase in the beginning of April because people were so carefree about the virus. We even thought that we would have been able to host the Olympics in the summer, and then went out to see fully bloomed cherry blossoms. Overall, we still find like 20 cases a day, but the situation is getting better. All I can say is wash your hands, wear masks, and then stay home as long as possible. And I hopefully see you in August. See you.
So, South Korea was hit pretty hard by the virus in February. We were the country outside of China with the most number of recorded coronavirus cases, but over the next few months, the government managed to flatten the curve without putting the country on complete lockdown. And they did so by doing two main things. The first was fast and extensive and free testing. As soon as the government heard of the first coronavirus case recorded in January, our country started mass producing testing kits and set up about over 600 testing centers around the country. And what this allowed the government to do was to identify the confirmed patients very early on, then go on to identify who they'd interacted with, test that pool of people, find the confirmed patients and backtrace their steps, find out who they've interacted with, and so on. And with this use of backtracing technology, the government's been able to contain the virus without a complete lockdown. Additionally, the routes of the confirmed patients have been published to a government website and sent out via text to everybody in the area, further limiting the spread of the virus because people would avoid the places that the confirmed patients have been to. The government response, I think, has been pretty effective in this outbreak in South Korea, but I think another huge factor to our success has been our culture, the fact that we're a collectivist nation rather than an individualistic one. And what that means is that individual needs are often set aside for the common good or the larger society, and that can have its pros and cons. But what that means is that in a moment of crisis like this, people are more willing to make sacrifices to their own freedoms and their daily lives for the common good of fighting the virus. And what that meant was people cooperated with wearing masks and socially distancing very early on in the outbreak. And we never had the need for curfews or punishments or a total lockdown of the country. So personally, I've been feeling very privileged and fortunate to have been able to live through this pandemic in South Korea. And I'd like to think that this moment of crisis really did bring out the best in the Korean people, our medical system, our trust in the government. And my heart goes out to everybody out there that's fighting the coronavirus in their own ways. And I hope everybody stays safe and healthy.
Hi. Started raining. Okay. Hi, I'm Tivona.
And I'm Lily.
And this is Hong Kong under COVID-19. Before we came back, when we were still at college, it was actually already a lot worse than was in the UK. So schools were ordered to be closed by the government, and people were already starting to wear masks on streets whenever they went out.
Yeah, and when we were coming back in the airport, we had temperature checks, and we had to sign a bunch of quarantine papers for a 14-day home quarantine. And in my case, I had to send my real-time location to the government for 3 times a day to ensure that I was staying at home, and they also video called me once to check that I was really at home.
Yeah, and actually even on the plane we were all like wearing masks, wearing like glasses, hats and everything. Like we didn't go to the bathroom, we didn't eat or anything to ensure that we didn't catch the virus. And when I came back, I actually had to wear a bracelet that ensures that I am home, and it like shows other people that I am supposed to be under mandatory quarantine. And there were actually like social consequences for people who actually violated that rule. So yeah, it was good not to break the rules.
And other rules included a 4 people gathering rule, which means that people can't gather in groups of more than 4 people outside, and now it's been loosened to 8 people.
Yeah, I guess like the situation as a whole has been getting better, but these past few days we've had some new cases because people who were handling imported goods were infected. So we're hoping that it's gonna slowly get better. Yeah, wear your mask, it works.
Everyone, I'm Michael from China. Talking about my journey back home, it was really tough. I remember precisely from the moment I left AC till the moment I stepped into my quarantine hotel. It was 44 hours in total. I transferred twice at Qatar and at Singapore. And what's worse, I believe this would be the once-in-a-lifetime experience that I was not carrying any check-in luggage with me on an international flight. I only got my backpack, and it has been limited to 12 kilograms because the special requirements of Qatar Airlines in this moment. And for the whole process, I would say it was not as anxious as I expected it would be, but for sure everyone was trying to protect themselves from all these potential infections by wearing masks, wearing goggles, wearing protective suits, or even someone were wearing helmets. I was not kidding. This is what I saw on my way back home. And after we arrived at the hotel, we were taken away separately by our regional officials. I'm really thankful for all of them because I could tell they were tired out after hours and hours continuous work, but they are still trying to calm us down and assist us to go through all these necessary paperwork and finally take us back to our quarantine hotel and keep going back and doing all this repeated work to make sure everyone is safe and everyone is in a positive mood in this special time. Really thankful for my country and all the hardworking officials.
Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. So as you guys may know, Taiwan was one of the first countries to encounter coronavirus. We actually have our first case in late January. And despite that, we didn't really have major restrictions such as lockdowns or curfew, although it did have an impact on our economy, but our economic activities are still going on. And the government implemented policies such as wearing masks and social distancing, and of course some restrictions towards crowd gatherings and restaurants as well. So when I first came back, I didn't know everyone was treating things this seriously, and I have to do a mandatory quarantine. So what this does is to prevent the virus from spreading into the community in the first place. And after this epidemic, I'm actually really grateful that I can live a normal life, because I know there are people out there still struggling because of this. And I'm really looking forward to getting back to AC. And for those who are struggling outside, I just hope you guys are doing well and the best of luck.
Thank you.